Hello friends, it's your favorite neighborhood nerd, Simone. And before I'm starting the video, I am going to show you this cap band. Is this how this normally looks? Like there's this lighter green and then these shorter, same color green as, teal as the rest of the pen barrel? Is this how this normally looks? I have not ever noticed that, and I love this detail. So if you have one of those, check them out, check the cap band, and let me know if this is the same with your. Today, I want to share all the pens I sold in 2024 with you. I sold a total of 27 pens, 2 nibs, and I sold a pen and nib bundle, and sold some of the pens I gave away, or I swapped a nib with a friend, stuff like that. So not all of them actually gave me money, but they're no longer with me. That's what this is. Pens that are no longer with me and that I got rid of in 2024. Before I start talking about the pens and how I found that they fit in different categories, let's talk about the nibs. The first one is a Jowo number 6 nib that I had ground to a cursive smooth italic left oblique by Kirk Spear of Pen Realm at the San Francisco Pen Show in 2023. And I just could not get this nib work for me. And another friend wanted to try it and she loved it. And so I asked her if she wanted to buy it and she did. And I want to write what the reason why I could not make it work for me. If this is going to go too slow, I will put a voiceover on this video after. And then the other one is the Pilot Vanishing Point Steel Nib. That was on my deep yellow Vanishing Point when I purchased it. I swapped that with a friend for a different nib. So, pens. I went through all of the pens that I sold and looked if there were similarities in why I got rid of them. Let's say got rid of them, even though that doesn't sound really good for the pen. And I have identified 5 categories that I can put these nibs in. The first one is pens that weren't comfortable or too small. Some of them were okay, but they were it's the same thing. Too small, not comfortable. Sometimes it was something else, but too small. But most of the time, the reason why I sold them was because the diameter of the grip section was too small. The second one, and that is my pet peeve reason for why I sold pens, or why I can't keep a pen in my collection, is when the evaporation is so much that it bothers me. And it bothers me when it's more than a line of text that the ink darkens. This is a me thing. And so that's just what it is. The third reason, or the third category that I put in, is Platinum 3776 Century. The fourth is I was not excited about them anymore. I wanted something else more, or I didn't love them as much as I thought I would when I purchased them. Like there was something wrong with them from the start, and I thought, well, I'll warm up to this, but I didn't. And then the last category is basically pens that I had issues with. I'm going to talk about why I put this in a separate category, and budget pens that I just wanted to try, but I never planned to keep in my collection long term. So let's start with category number 1, pens that weren't comfortable. Comfort. I'm just going to write comfort. And then the first one in this category is the Sailor Pro Gear Slim in Autumn Drizzle. That was the purple one with the amber finials. Too small. And the other thing that I did not enjoy about this was I bought it mainly because I wanted to see if there was a difference between the 14 karat Pro Gear Slim nib and the 21 karat gold nib. On this one, it did not, no difference. So it wasn't worth for me keeping it. This might be weird because I still have 2 Pro Gear Slims in my collection, even though at the time that I sold them, I decided I wouldn't keep any. Oh, I meant to write the date that I sold it, January 20th, 2024. The next one is the Namiki Vanishing Point in Hunter Green. And I was so excited about this purchase when I made it. It was a basically vintage pen in the old Vanishing Point style. But over time, I realized that the barrel was just too narrow for me. And so I decided to pass it along. Even though too narrow. Even though I really loved the idea of having a vintage pen in my collection, I wanted somebody else to be excited about this pen, more excited than I was. And I sold that on February 17th. And what my hope is that those pens make someone else happy now. I really, most of the time, the reason when I sell a pen is because I feel like this pen is not worshipped enough in my collection. And so I want it to be loved like some of the pens that I really, truly love by someone else. All right, next one, third, was a Kaweco Sport in the Frosted Coconut with a double broad nib. This one was also too small, and it felt like I didn't need to keep this because there was nothing. It was a double broad nib. It wrote well, worked okay, but it was not something that, even though it's not comfortable, something else is so amazing about it that I need to keep it. So I gave it away in February 2024. This was a pen that I received from a viewer. I don't even remember because she didn't like the nib. I was able to tune the nib and get it writing really well. But I thought in the beginning when I started playing with fountain pens, I thought, oh, Kaweco Sports are so affordable. They're so cute. I want a whole bunch of them. Nah, they are totally not for me. Sailor, not because of any of the pen's fault, it's just too small. Sailor Pro Gear Slim Autumn Sky with a medium fine nib. Again, too small. I prefer the Sailor Pro Gear with the bigger nib. Too small. And I sold that March 9th, 2024. Fifth pen I sold was the Lamy Studio in Glacier with a, I don't even know, 1.1 stub nib possibly. This is one of those pens I could have made a separate category in general. Wanted to try, was it affordable enough? This one was sold secondhand at a price that I was willing to just throw possibly out the window. And so I wanted to try it. The grip section is metal, and I know there are grip sections that you can buy separately that are rubberized. Still did not feel good in my hand. It always felt like the pen was slipping out from underneath my grip, like because it's shaped still. It's not circular, it is flattened right here. I always had the feeling that the pen would slip out right like so. And so I did not like that at all. Grip section was weird. Yeah, so it didn't feel good in my hand, and so I sold it April 4th. I don't even know if did I sell it? Yeah, 4th, 2024. Then 6th is I had heard so many things about the Pelican twist, and I knew that it was compatible with the nibs that are in the Pelicano Junior, and I had a nib for my son because the pen was broken, that I wanted to use in this pen, but the grip section is so weird, and it did not feel good at all. Weird grip section again, that I gave it away in June. Giveaway June, because for that reason I was gifted that pen, and so I gave it away. The next one might be weird because I wanted to love this pen. I sold the Schoen Design Ultim full size design, Ultim full-size fountain pen, I think without a nib, because the grip section, it's very concave on both sides. It's super narrow. It looks fantastic, and I wanted to love and use it. And then in general, it was just a tiny bit too short. And so I decided, you know what? You can love something from afar, even though you would maybe at one point Schoen makes a pen that works for my hands, and then I will gladly spend the money again. So June 3rd, 2024 is when I sold this pen. 8, I'm moving over here. This is another one. Comfort Waterman, maybe that's not the right place for this pen. Waterman Karen in the deluxe model with a fine nib. And the reason why I sold this is because the friend who loaned me the two so that I could try them sold both of them to me, and I wanted to see which one I liked better. And then when I was clear that I liked the other one more, I sold this pen on. I don't know this one. Kept one, sold one. And that happened in September of 2024. Okay, next category is the pet peeve category. And there is a lot of pens in this category that I'm super sad that they disappointed me. but I can't really say anything else. It's so I sold both Franklin Christoph #2 models. I had one in frosted magenta, and I had one in white with the primary manipulation 1 grip section. This one I sold January 19th, 2024. This one I sold January 20th, 2024. And the reason why I sold both of them is the one is that the evaporation was just too much. Of course, because that's the reason, but also because the screw caps come loose every time. Caps come loose. I've heard that from so many people. I could not tolerate it, so I decided, well, it's unfortunate, but if I enjoy everything about this pen, the writing experience and all the things, and then I come and the cap is always loose and it irritates me, and then the evaporation is happening on top, then maybe this pen is not for me, and that's okay. This one was a hard one. I sold the Scribo Feel. I picked this as my birthday pen in Mosto with a medium nib. The evaporation on this pen was so July 2024. I tried it with various different inks. I wasn't even sure what ink I had in there at the end. And so I decided, you know what? I'm not super wowed by the nib in general. It's not I can't feel a difference in the writing experience with this Pilot, Custom 743, and the Scribo Feel, which costs quite a bit more than this pen. Plus I have evaporation that I don't have here. Why do I keep a pen in my collection that doesn't make me happy? That every time I write with it, I'm like, a little irritated by it. So I sold it, and I'm happy I had the ability to experience this pen. And I'm sad that we did not work out. And actually, I have to really say that the more expensive a pen gets, the less lenient I am with my expectations. So if a pen that costs me $20 has an evaporation that is as big as the evaporation on the Scribo Feel, I'm like, okay, well, that pen was $20. Who cares? If a pen costs me $600 and I have that kind of experience, it taints the whole experience for me. And so sad, but it happens. I need to drink a sip. And maybe that's something that I wanted to mention as well. Maybe if you use this as your daily writer and you use it every day and you write with it every day, you do not have this experience. But the way that I am using my pens at the moment, and it doesn't seem like it's going to change anytime soon, there was evaporation with this pen. And so I couldn't deal with it. Other people might, and that's totally fine. Just because I feel irritated about something and just because I feel this way about my pens, about my experiences, doesn't mean that you have to have the exact same experiences, that you have to have the exact same feelings and conclusions as I have when I experience my pens. Okay, then I sold the Gravitas pocket pen that I purchased at the San Francisco Pen Show in 2023, and I basically almost sold all the pens maybe even all of them, I need to check, that I purchased at the San Francisco Pen Show in 2023. I'm not sure if that's saying something. Maybe I should not buy pens at the San Francisco Pen Show anymore. Well, I did buy quite a few good pens this year, so maybe that is done, or maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. Maybe I should think more about my pen purchases. This one I thought would be a good replacement for the Kaweco Sport. They're very similar, but they take number 6 nibs. The grip section is bigger. However, the material that it's made of is Delrin, and that was quite slippery in the grip section. And so when I held that pen, I always felt like I death gripped it. Plus evaporation. That's why it's in this section. But on top of the evaporation, it had a slippery grip, and so it went. The only pen right now that I know of that is in my collection that has this evaporation issue is my, what's it called? Monte Grappa Elmo with the medium nib. And I am very torn about keeping or selling that pen. What this pen has speaking for it is that is the only issue I have with this pen. So the evaporation is there. It was also a quite expensive pen, but it never dries out, which I couldn't say for any of those. Sometimes I had hard starts, sometimes I had to make them work. And the balance in my hand of this pen is so amazing. And so I'm still very wobbly, but that might be a pen that needs to go next. Okay, let's talk about Platinum 3776. So, I have no idea why this happened, but for some reason I sold all 3 of the Platinum 3776s that I had in my collection this year. And so what I'm reading out of this is that maybe that pen is just not the right pen for me. So I sold the Shape of Heart. With a medium nib in August. I have been wobbly about this pen for a while. I always had a hard time finding inks that would work well in this pen. The pen is really short in general, so it felt like it's a short pen. And the pen is super expensive, and I felt like I wasn't using it enough and enjoying it enough for the amount of money that it is. So I decided to sell it. The next one is the Burgundy that I purchased as an extra fine that was turned into a monoline at the San Francisco Pen Show in 2024. And I sold that one in September. Maybe it should have been a sign to me that I already didn't really enjoy the nib as it was, because I also had a black with rhodium trim Platinum 3776 in broad that I had Kirk Spear grind. Both of them were ground by Kirk Spear to a reverse architect nib. And I sold that one in November because it just did not work out. It was like, okay, I have those great grinds. They're still not working for me. So when two of my friends actually were very interested in both of those grinds, they tried them, they loved them. So I said, oh, if you want to buy it, here. So they did. Maybe at one point in my life, I will have Platinum 3776s enter my collection again. But right now, I'm a little bit hesitant to add any more because this is the sign. Number 4 in my here categories is the not excited anymore, because I have not purchased a pen that I wasn't at least excited about when I purchased it. Wanted something else more. Else. So sometimes I just, I go through my collection and I'm like, would I reach for this? Sometimes it's really clear. I have 3 of those. I'm always reaching for the other 2. This one is not being used. I sell it. I want a pen that I see that costs quite a bit of money. Which pens could I let go? So I look through, and then maybe if I find 1 or 2 that might fall into this category, I sell it. If I'm still thinking about the other pen and selling that pen and I'm still feeling okay with it. I have not regretted any of the sales or giveaways that I did in 2024. I have not missed one single pen. I have also not missed any of the pens that I let go in 2023. So that shows me that that it's okay, that I might be onto something, that I don't need to change anything with my approach of selling pens. So, Esterbrook SD, yep, I sold 2 Esterbrook SDs in 2024 in Rainforest. Well, that actually I sold right at the end of 2023, Forest. But I wanted to include it here because I feel like, especially with the Rainforest, for some reason, the images of the cracked iced resin of the Rainforest looks much greener, much darker, more vibrant than it actually is in real life. Mine looked so yellow, and when I unboxed it, I even think I mentioned that in the video that I was super irritated by the color of the pen because I did not expect it to look like that. So I knew from the beginning that this was not the color that I was expecting. And after the first excitement, I decided to let it go. Color match is what I'm going to write. And I had that same thing happening to the first SD that I purchased. So I sold that on December 14th in 2023. But I had already filmed my pens I sold in 2023 by that time. Then I sold the Pilot E95S with a medium nib. And the reason why I sold that is because I'm not excited, wanted something else. I just did not liked others more. And when I notice a trend, then I most likely will sell. January 8, 2024. 18 is the Benno Euphoria in Confetti Milkshake. This one had a, medium nib. And again, this was I reach for the other Benno Euphorias. When I ink pens, I reach for the other Euphorias more. So that was a sign. And it just, not as fun. I thought I liked the idea of this pen more than the actual, you know, translation into reality. Not as fun as I thought. And when it turned out that I didn't reach for it as much as I did reach for the other ones, I sold it again. Because why keep it hostage when somebody else will love it more? March 9, 2024. Then 19th was the Esty in sea glass. Same with this one. I thought this was more blue, more vibrant than it looked in real life. The photos looked like it was this beautiful turquoisey color, but it actually is very light. And so, yeah. Once I had the SD in honeycomb and I had the SD in scarlet. And it was like, okay, I'm going to ink. I'm usually not inking 4 SDs at the same time. And then I ink maybe the honeycomb or the scarlet, but I never reached for the sea glass. So that was the reason. Had to go. March 28, 2024. 20. And also keep in mind that most of the time when I sell those pens, there is another pen that I would rather have than this one. I'm not sure which ones those were. Maybe I sold them as well. But at the time it was, oh, I would rather have the other one that I'm looking at than the one that I have here. 20. Benno Euphoria. Another Benno Euphoria. And I know because the person who purchased it just recently commented on a video that they really love this pen. And you know, that Earl Grey with a fine nib, I believe. I bought this pen. I liked this pen and I thought, man, this is so cool. And then I still inked the other 2 Benno Euphorias that I have in my collection more often. I reached for them more often. And so, you know what? Okay. Liked others more. And I sold that one in June or July. I don't remember. And at that point, I already knew that I was going to the San Francisco Pen Show and that I just wanted to free up funds so that I could spend money without having to think, oh, I have so many pens and I'm not using them. 21, we have 7 more to go. The way that I am selling my pens most often is just by posting them in my Discord server or on my YouTube page. I also post them to Instagram. I sold the Scribophile through the virtual pen show, and that was a really good experience. It was really easy. Other venues that I have seen is Facebook. That's where I got the Namiki Vanishing Point in Hunter Green. There are specific fountain pen sell trade groups. Mercari, I have seen pens being sold on Reddit. There is a specific pen. I'm not part of that community over there because I just can't take in as much social media. It just overwhelms me at some point. So I decided that I would knowingly miss out of that big, huge Reddit fountain pen community, but there is a huge community over there, and they have a subreddit that is the pen swap, I believe. So they have some rules when and how you can sell. And yeah, I hear so many good things about those places. I would try those first. All right. Next, 2 more in this category. The 21 is a weird one. The Bone Crusher 7 Studios Velma in Vibes with an extra fine nib. I purchased that pen because my friend Shauna really liked that pen and she kept obsessing over it. And so I wanted to buy a Velma. And so what my thought process was, I can buy this, I can own it for a little while, and when Shauna, either she doesn't want it anymore or she wants it and saves up for the funds for this pen, and then whenever she's ready I can send it to her. The problem, or it worked out really well because she got the funds much faster than she thought she would, and I did not like the resin as much as I expected it to like it. And so I actually sold it. I purchased it in July and I think I sold it in September. September 2024. Little Pen Designs is the next pen that I sold. And I actually commissioned this pen and I felt really bad that I sold it. But I could not get to terms with the roughness of the threads. And the polishing was not how I expected it to be. And so every time I used it, I would unscrew the threads. I was like, this doesn't feel good. And so when somebody else, I posted it, someone purchased it, and when I sell these pens, I am very open and tell people why I don't like this pen and what the reason is for selling it. But there's people who have, if you already know what you're getting, then that's okay with me. I'm not selling this pen to you. All right, pens, issues, and short term. So this is the 23rd pen that I sold, or actually I gave it away, is a Jinhao X159. I got this because I wanted to try it. I tried it. It's okay. And so I gave it away. Or I think with this one I did a you pay shipping and I'll send you the pen, not 34, 24. The next ones are all TWSBIs. I have a whole video about my sad TWSBI sob story. I seem to not be able to use TWSBIs without them, the sections cracking. And so I decided I let go of a lot of TWSBIs. And I kept only the ones that I really liked. And then it became very clear to me towards the end of 2023 and the beginning of 2024 that my experience with those pens has tainted my love for them as well. And I don't need to keep a safety TWSBI in my collection. And so I got rid of those pens that I kept because they were a little more meaningful to me. So I gave away the TWSBI Eco in clear. Also around January 2024, I sold the TWSBI Eco in yellow green. That was one that was a tea. I really loved that. It was one of the first TWSBI Ecos that I purchased. I actually had exchanged all of the barrels of those pens. So you got a new barrel with your TWSBI nib and cap and stuff. Also January 2024, 26 was the TWSBI Eco Tea in cerulean. This was my favorite color of them all. No, that was actually the mint blue that mint blue. I really loved that one too. It's the second TWSBI that I got. Sold that one March 10th. And then the last pen that I sold, or not last, because the last pen that I sold was in November. The last pen that I got rid of was the TWSBI Mini in AL purple, and all the nibs that I had harvested and put on sections, just because I did not reach for this pen anymore. April 28, 2024. So those were all the pens I sold in 2024. I wanted to film this so that I could do a status update for 2024 and then close this book and be done with it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope, even though this was a little bit longer, well, my videos are always long, even though this was longer than I had anticipated, I hope you enjoyed watching. I want to encourage you to relieve yourself of pens that you don't enjoy anymore. If you're like me and sometimes you attach guilt to having pens that you're not using, I'm not attaching guilt to spending the money on them, but I always feel really bad when I'm not using a pen. Don't force yourself to use a pen. Give it away if it's an affordable pen. Make someone else happy. Sell it. Even if you cut your losses and you sell it for a lower price, it frees funds to get more pens, other pens that you might love more. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again soon. Until then, bye.